Howdy folks, how are y'all doing? My name is Rees, and welcome back to the Tekkit SMP Let's Play Adventure, where today we're continuing where we left off in the previous installment, having an investigation into Industrial Craft Classic. Now, in the last episode, episode 2 of this Let's Play series, we built the generator, as well as a bat box to store energy generated by the generator. We also built a macerator to divide up our various ores into dusts, doubling our output from the mines, an electric furnace to then cook those dusts up into ingots, and an extractor to make extracting things like sticky resin even more efficient. Instead of cooking them up, 1 sticky resin for 1 rubber, we can now extract 3 rubber from a single sticky resin, tripling our output. But we can actually go a lot further. Now, you might be wondering why things look different since episode 2. We've got a whole new floor, and we've actually gone ahead and built the shark axe, the shark mattock, and somewhere around here we even have a shark sword, though I don't remember where. Possibly in... somewhere. There it is, shark sword! Honestly, I just prefer to use the axe. But yeah, I decided to do another half episode, and by the way, timestamps in the description if you don't care about this. You can skip ahead. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But we did another half episode for channel members and Patreon supporters. It's up right now for channel members. And if you are not a channel member or a Patreon supporter, you can go over to Patreon. And while that video has been available for the last week exclusively to Patreon supporters, I've now made it public to everyone. So you can join for free, no cost associated, and watch that half episode. If you want to watch us, go look for Elder Prismarine. It changes colors, folks. It changes color. It goes through an RGB change. It's amazing. It's fun to watch. And also, we built some shark-related weaponry and tools and tested those out. I also collected, and this is important, I collected a vis crystal while we were down in the mine. Now, I actually don't see it now. Where is it? It's frustrating because it's probably right in front of me on one of these 2 screens, and I just don't know where it ended up. But if we look up vis, and we have a look here, you can see, oh, there it is right there. I had to actually look at them, and then I saw aqua vis crystal. You can find a ton of these down in the mines, and after you mine one, and you'll see this happen in the half episode, it'll let you know that something strange is happening and you should go to bed. And when you go to bed, you'll wake up with a strange dreams journal. And I actually caught that on camera. I kind of had forgotten about it and meant to talk about it at the top of this episode, but fortunately I had started recording when I did take a nap, and I'll play that footage now, or it has been playing, I don't know. That's all going to be relevant later when we do Thaumcraft, because that is a Thaumcraft-related object. And these are our Strange Dreams guides. I had a strange dream last night. We'll get to all that in the future. We'll get to... don't you worry about it. But today, we're going to continue with Industrial Craft Classic by building a couple more machines. So the compressor, which has some really interesting uses. For instance, you can turn sand, a single sand, into a sandstone inside the compressor, or 3 netherrack into nether brick. Now, some of these don't seem that exciting, but, oh, wait a minute, packed ice? Ice into packed ice? That, again, not that exciting. 3 of them, though, so it's less. You can take a snowball and go into ice. You can't do that in vanilla, can ya? Some of these are required for the mod, but there are also some pretty good ones. Reverting from blaze powder to blaze rods, for example. Going from uranium to refined uranium. Sticky resin into pipe sealant if you need to. But what I'm actually really excited about today is the canning machine. I'm excited about the canning machine. Okay, if you look at uses for the canning machine, my friends, this is where it gets fun, okay? Any food can be turned into a canned food, and the value of the food will determine how many cans you get. So apple gets you 2, whereas mushroom stew gets you 3. Cooked pork chop gets you 4, but if you don't feel like cooking it, a raw pork chop gets you 2. And you might be thinking, well, why would I ever want to can my food? What is the advantage? Well, aside from being able to take a bunch of different food types, disparate, unrelated food types, like, you don't want to use these. You don't want to make bad food types. But, like, you can, instead of carrying around, like, 3 carrots and a potato, you can carry around 4, or more than that, filled cans. And when you eat the filled cans, according to the wiki, and I never noticed this, but apparently it heals you directly. So it doesn't just fill up your hunger shanks, but it should also heal you, which is amazing. Something else we might look at today is some alternative power, although the more I think about that, the more I think that might be better served in a future installment at a real permanent base. Yeah, well, who am I kidding? We're doing that today. We will at least be building a watermill, a windmill, a solar panel, and a geothermal generator. Possibly. It depends on what exactly goes into all of these, and whether or not it's going to be a nightmare to assemble, and how long it takes. So I guess we should stop delaying and just get to it. But let's go ahead and get started with the other machines. Let's build a compressor, first off, which is going to require some stone. It says chiseled stone right now, but any type of stone will work. And then a machine block and an electronic circuit, two things that we're very familiar with. I also want to keep all of this running while we're at it. So let's go ahead and continue splitting up our iron. We'll get that running, and we will get some of our iron, and we will turn that into... Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, no, hold on. I'm doing the wrong thing. Hold on. Iron ore goes in there. Iron ingots go in there. Things are getting a little bit wild here. And I'm doing that because there's something else I wanted to show you, and I think this is going to be really helpful for people. You'll notice these machines make quite a lot of noise. Now, you do have your vanilla sound options here where you can turn down, like, you know, everything. Alternatively, you can actually go into IC2 sound specifically. So IC2 is Industrial Craft Classic here, and you can turn down specific things. So you can turn down your master volume, tiles, items, backpacks. You can actually hit this button here, and it'll remove all current sounds. So our macerator going in progress. No more macerator. Now, I do believe it comes back if you leave and then you come back, or if it stops running and then you put more fuel in it. I think it'll start up again. So your sound is not permanently disabled, but if you've got a lot of machines around you and it's starting to drive you crazy, but you don't want to turn down all the game audio, you can disable your sounds that are currently happening. And they'll come back. You can get them back. Don't worry about that. It's not off forever, I don't think. Now, unfortunately, we may be pressured into going to mining again because we don't have a lot of coal. I collected some in the half episode, but I really don't want to take time out of the episode to go collect coal. I want to avoid that. All right, I wanted to check before I committed to doing this, but it does look like we have everything we need to build the crafting table 4, which is one of my favorite crafting tables in any mod pack ever. So what you need to do is build yourself a book first, like so, and then you need to get a crafting table, and I want to keep our vanilla crafting table, so I'm not going to use that one, but we'll get ourselves some wood here and make a new one, and then you just combine that with the book to get crafting table 4, and then what it does is it can actually look at the items in your inventory and determine what can be made with them for the most part. For example, you'll see here that copper cables are not an option. And they should be, because we can definitely make copper cables. So it does appear as though there are some things missing from the crafting table 4's recipe list. Not everything can be made in there as far as I can tell. But if I make some regular uninsulated copper cable, yeah, it still doesn't see it. So it's useful for some things, but I wonder why it's missing that recipe. I really wanted this to be cool, and instead I'm disappointed because it's not going to show us how to do the cables, but that's alright. Let's just make our copper cables and carry on with the episode. Oh man, it can't even figure out how to make the electronic circuits. That is upsetting. Thankfully, I know how to make them, and I'm actually going to go ahead and make 2 of them, because we're going to need one for the compressor as well as the canning machine. Also, you may have noticed that I moved some different items into the macerator, and its noise is back. So can confirm, it doesn't lock you out of macerator noises forever, even though you may want it to. And there we have it. We have all of our stone, our machine block, and our electronic circuit. That'll give us our compressor. And we're going to plug that in. Oh, let's see. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to put it there. I guess I'll break it with... No, don't break. It says it's an effective tool at the top of the screen. But you do not want to break your IC2 machines with a pickaxe. I actually said in the last video that I was going to show you folks how to properly move these things around, and then by the end of the episode, I'd forgotten to do that. So we're going to correct that mistake now, and I'm going to show you the wonders of the wrench. Now, there are many wrenches in here, but we are specifically looking for the IC2 wrench, which I know immediately is this one right here. And it's shaped like so. And you'll notice when you hover over it, it says not lossless, and that's because it's not perfect. You might actually still run the risk of ruining your machines using a wrench. Now, what's interesting is that the odds actually vary machine to machine. It's not a 1 in 5 or a 1 in 10 sort of universal. It's based on the individual machines. So if you want better odds, you want to upgrade to either the electric wrench or the precision wrench. Now, even the electric wrench has the potential to accidentally break a machine, although that can be reduced with fortune. Alternatively, you can put it into a lossless mode that consumes a lot of energy, but you can charge it back up. And as long as you're close to a machine that can charge it, like let's say a generator, it should be fine. Well, let's build the wrench first, and in order to build the wrench, you're going to need to build bronze. And for bronze, you need 3 copper dust and 1 tin dust, which is why this is currently going crazy over here, grinding up copper. And now I really do need 10, and thankfully we made it in the previous episode. So let's combine that at a rate of 3 copper to 1 tin to get our bronze. And we're going to start light with about 16. I'm actually going to let the iron finish here, because I think we'll need more iron anyway. Then we will throw in our bronze to get processing. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make what we need in order to create the electric wrench. And actually, it turns out we're going to need another electronic circuit. You're going to be building a lot of those in this pack. And once that's done, we will throw in some iron, because things just have to keep marching forward. And we can finally build ourselves, hey, this one works, a wrench. Take it out of there, and Bob's your uncle. Now, you can right-click with this in order to rotate machines. How did I do that? How did I build the wrong wrench? We let the machine do it. We let the crafting table do it. Get out of here. You're not the right wrench. We will need that one in the future as well. That one is used for forestry. But the one we meant to build is this one here. I can't even get the recipe right. There is our Industrial Craft Classic Wrench, which can be right-clicked to rotate machines, which is pretty useful. And normally that will take durability, but because we have our handy-dandy repair talisman in our bubble slot, we never have to worry about that. Now, we could break this machine by shift right-clicking it, or I think if we're looking at the front of the machine and we immediately right-click, it'll break it. But we don't want to take the chance. Let's go ahead and upgrade the darn thing. We want to upgrade it from a regular wrench to an electric wrench, and we can do so like that using a rebattery and an electronic circuit, and that'll give us an electric wrench. Then we need to charge it, and unfortunately, it looks like we're all out of coal. Oh no, no need to panic, we'll go get some more. By the way, here's a demonstration of our handy-dandy shark axe in action, not collecting coal. Here we go. Hopefully this will be enough to keep us going. And here we have some water crystals. You can break those if you want to have the dream experience I was talking about earlier. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to catch up with you in the mines. Whew! Power was starting to run low, so let's get this thing charging up. And as you can see, we should have power going back into our bat box as soon as it's done charging up the electric wrench. So there we are, our electric wrench is set up and ready to go, and now I have to figure out what key we need to hold down. We're looking for a mode switch key, and it's going to be under IC2. Here we go. Our mode switch key is B. So if we hold down B and then we right-click, it'll change it to lossless mode. Now, I need to point out there that it only has 15 uses. So those should save the machine if it would otherwise be destroyed. But once those 15 are up, it will no longer work for that function. You can upgrade to the precision wrench, which I believe has 30 uses, but it suffers from the same problem. And then from this other mod, Gravsuit Classic, they've got a Gravitool, which I don't know if it looks like it works as a wrench. I don't know about that. That might work better for you, but honestly, I don't find myself moving these machines around much once I figure out where I want to put them. As for how to get this thing broken down, we're going to hold down Shift and right-click. And that'll face the front of the machine towards us. Then we right-click on the front of the machine, and it'll pop up. That's what we're looking for. And it still has 15 lossless uses left, because it only consumes one of our lossless uses if the machine would have been destroyed otherwise. So it can be used more than 15 times. I want to make sure that's clear. So I'm going to move this over here, and we'll wire it in from down below. Actually, do I want it over there? That's going to be, like, weird to wire up. You know what? We make do. So, that is also where our canning machine is going to be. We can cover all that back up now. Speak of, let's go ahead and compress some uranium, because I don't know what else to do with it. It can be compressed into refined uranium. Actually, you know what? Regular uranium has an EMC value. So let's not. Is there anything we need that we can use the compressor for just for the sake of demonstration? Honestly, from the looks of things, not really. Oh, there's an interesting one. We can make a snowball with a vial of water. That sounds like a fun experiment. Why not? Sounds like something your teacher would show you how to do in like a science class. Like, all right, gather around, students. Today we'll be making snowballs out of water bottles. Did I misunderstand? It looks like water bottle. Hold on. Water cell, Evertide amulet, water bucket, water bottle. I've got a water bottle. It won't take it. We've been lied to. We've been deceived. We've been misled. Never mind. I don't want to use the compressor right now anyway. We'll need it in the future, and we have it. Let's build a canning machine. I'm more excited about the canning machine, to be honest with you. Canning machine's kind of cool. I'm smack talking the compressor. I'm trying to belittle it. Look at all the things we can build in here. And then think about all the things we can't. I'm not getting over that. I'm not getting over that. Get the compressor out of here. I don't even want to look at it anymore. Machine block. Okay. Electronic circuit, machine block, 10 ingots, and a big old U will give us our canning machine. Here's something that's guaranteed not to let us down. We're not going to kick this thing to the can. Let's start canning some of our food. And in fact, I think we're going to can all of our food. Now, you have some options here. If you look at potato, and if you put the potato inside of the canning machine, it'll give you one filled tin can. However, if you first bake that potato, and then you put that inside of there, you get 3 filled cans. That is a much better deal, and it doesn't take very long to cook up some potatoes. And you know what? Yeah, we could put potatoes in the industrial equipment. I don't care if it's been like refining iron all day. Throw the potatoes in there. Human body's got iron in it. What can go wrong? Oh no, we're out of fuel again, everyone. If we had the transmutation table, this wouldn't be an issue. But at this present moment, we don't, and that's planned for a later episode. So we're just going to have to charge forward. I'm not going to complain about needing coal. This is a classic Minecraft sort of thing. You got to have coal. I'm out of torches, and it's incredibly dark down here and kind of hard to see. But I found a big old vein of coal. Does coal come in veins? It's not like gold. I'm going to I'll put 32 coal inside of there. I'm gonna make some more torches. And I'm gonna put the other 16 in here for safekeeping. Now that our baked potatoes are finished, we can continue cooking up. Oh, I don't know. We'll probably need some more refined iron. Now, if we look at the canning machine, in order to actually use our baked potato in there, we're going to need some tin cans, which we've never built before. But they're an incredibly simple and easy and affordable recipe that just requires the tin currently sitting in our inventory. Gives us 4 tin cans, and then from there, we should just be able to throw in our baked potatoes. And now that this is running, it makes me wonder if maybe I missed something, because it wouldn't actually let me put the potatoes in there until I had the tin can. And I'm wondering if possibly with that water bottle inside the compressor, was there any additional requirements? It doesn't look like, it does just look like water bottle in compressor gives snowball. Oh, an XP? Does it require XP? It can't require XP. That doesn't make any sense. It's just not going to take it. Comment down below if you know what that's all about. But now we have some tin cans, and I wanted to test its claims about also healing health. So we need to take some damage real quick. It shouldn't be too hard, considering there's a raucous storm happening outside. I just need to sustain a bit of an injury. There we go. Eat this. Oh my gosh, it did. It did immediately restore some health. Well, 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 there you go. Toss our used can back in there, and I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to condense everything that can be condensed, and it kind of looks like just about anything can be, except for hops. That doesn't count. You can macerate wheat into flour, and then combine, or you can cook the flour into bread. Okay, so 1 wheat for 1 bread. That's a really good recipe if you want to macerate wheat. I feel like I knew that, but maybe not. You can also make sponge cake with it if you combine it with any kind of egg, I'm sure, and sugar. And then you can can the egg if you want to. No one's making you. I am going to make a bog standard vanilla hopper and plop it on top of the canning machine. And yeah, you can use hoppers with these machines. And then I'm going to take anything that can be turned, even the raw stuff. I'm not going to bother cooking it. Anything that can be put in a can. is it's going in there because I don't want to carry around a mix of different foods if I can just have some delicious, nutritious canned food at my disposal. You're gonna need an extra chest up here because there's just so much random stuff. But now it's just a matter of getting more cans, and gosh darn it, let's go ahead and cook up all that tin, because we need more cans. We're gonna throw our 12 cans in there, and it should start the production process up again, and I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm now going to begin the process of manufacturing 4 regular generators, so we can get on with part 2 of this video, which is alternative power. 4 generators. That was a little bit of a process, but we got there in the end. So let's get started with some of our alternative power generation methods, and we're going to go in the order that they are presented on the screen here, which is inverse alphabetical, I suppose. And we're going to start with the water mill, one of the simplest and easiest to build, and in fact the recipe gives you 2, which is good because these don't produce a lot of power. Now there are upgraded versions of all of these generators that we will look at in the future, but not today. Keeping things simple today. For this recipe, we just need our 4 sticks, as well as a bit of wood, and from there, we just surround our generator with that, and in case you'd forgotten what the generator recipe is, there you go. Water mill. Or mills, plural. Now, when it comes to the water mills, the best way to deploy them, in my opinion, is inside of water. Although, you will need a way to get power out of them. Now, because they're considered ultra-low voltage, you actually don't need to use copper cables. You can use tin cables. Assuming, that is, you want to use tin cables. You get a lot of them. For your 310 ingots, you get 9 of these ultra-low current cables, and they don't have a lot of use outside of using them for this task, but we're going to go ahead and use them because we can. Now, you want to have as many sides of the water mill making contact with water as possible. We're going to go ahead and build ourselves a proper ruby shovel, which is looking nice, and we want to pipe the power into our bat box. So I'm going to dig a hole out here to the outside, right out here where we've got some water. And because all but one side of the bat box is considered an input, we can route it in right here on this side. Now here's the situation. Waterlogging does not exist in Minecraft version 1.12. So if you put the pipe in the water, you'll be surprised to find out it waterlogs. Yeah, it is unexpected, isn't it? How unexpected? Even I didn't expect it. That changes everything. I was going to say we want to make sure all but one side is in the water, but if we can actually submerge the entire thing, that'll be better, because that's all sides surrounded by water. Specifically, the wiki says you want a 3 cubic meter space, so that's just a 3 by 3 by 3 brick of water surrounding one of these things, and we will need a little bit more tin cable. Get another 9 of those, and then we will head back out. Can we fit through here? Yes, we can. Now, fortunately, there's no sharks out today, which is good, because I don't want to be dealing with them while I'm dealing with this as well. So I believe we can place one right here if we want to, and that will mean that it's got a water block on top of, below, and to every side of it. Hook it in right there, and it should start... Oh, you have become acquainted with the watery depths. Should I know what that means? I have no idea what that means. But if we right-click on this now, it's not going to show anything. And the only real way to determine its output... Actually, that needs to be removed as well. There we go. The only way I know of to track its output is to either look inside of here when nothing else is pulling power, which currently this is, but not for much longer, or to use one of these handy-dandy EU readers that I would love to have for this, but it requires glowstone, which requires a trip to the Nether, which we're not planning for another couple of episodes. So we're just going to have to take at face value that this thing is working. We are going to install the second one, not directly next to it, but with a block in between, and I think it's okay that they're sharing this block in the middle here. Hopefully. Sounds like they're both making a lot of noise, which is exactly what we want to hear. Now, you can pipe water directly in, and according to the wiki, if you pipe a water in there, it'll output 1 EU per tick, which is not a lot. In case you didn't know, or maybe you forgot, a regular generator outputs quite a bit more than that. The generator outputs 10 EU per tick. I think in the past I said 32, but that's actually incorrect. It outputs 10 EU per tick. I see you, sharks. Throw my fish in there. It outputs 10 EU per tick, which is enough to keep all of this running. But at 1 EU per tick, we would need 10 of these water mills to match the output of a generator. And that's if we're piping water in. When you're not piping water in, these produce a measly 0.25 EU per tick. That's called passive production, and that's not a lot. Now, if we look inside of our bat box, the bat box is charging up. So that's nice. Now, it is free power, so that's nice. And it's always running day and night, no matter what. So long as the chunks you're in are loaded, those machines are running. So they do have that advantage. Solar panels are passive as well. And for that matter, so is wind energy. But they're not as consistent. If it's nighttime, you're not getting solar power. So I will give the water mills this. At least they're consistent. And again, there are upgraded versions that we'll touch on. But for now, let's move on to the windmill. The windmill has yet another extremely simple recipe. You start with the base generator, surround it with a bit of refined iron, and you get yourself a windmill. Now, the windmill is considered, well, it's kind of hard to classify it. It might produce very little energy, or it might produce a lot. Passively, if you have good wind, and height does not matter anymore, I believe it did during the Tekkit Classic age, but that was over a decade ago. Height has no matter. What matters is, I guess, luck of the draw. It can produce up to 16 EU per tick, or during a thunderstorm, it can increase all the way up to 28, but that doesn't mean it's going to. And finding good wind is hard. I think you just kind of have to, it's like a luck of the draw. Keep it clear space around it. I thought at one point, and I was going through here, I was like, isn't there a wind meter? And I can't find it now. So if that ever existed, comment down below and let me know, or if you know what it would be called. Wind meter? I don't know. Windy larvae? Probably not that. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea. We're just going to charge forward with it. Now, according to the wiki, anything over 5 EU per tick is going to overwhelm our ultra-low current cables, so we're not going to be using those today. Instead, starting right about here, I'm actually going to break all of these ultra-low current cables, and I'm going to replace them with the copper cables. And that's okay. We can mix and match, and then we can have this go up, and once we get up decently high with no obstructions around us, this tree probably counts as an obstruction. We could probably take it down, though. I say probably, but we have a shark axe in our inventory for this exact purpose. And yeah, we could have broken it down from the bottom, but listen, don't worry about it. Oh my goodness, there are a lot of sharks out now. I guess they found out I was previously in the water. I'm going to slap it down on top of there, and we're going to see whether or not this works. There we go. Now, again, without the meter, you know, it's kind of hard to tell what's happening here, if anything. Oh, okay. Poor wind. It looks like it's not even halfway filled. I assume if we moved it around a bit, or maybe moved things around a bit, it might perform slightly better. Like, that is probably causing a problem. This lovely cherry tree is probably blocking it. So while height doesn't actually matter, I'm wondering if maybe lifting it up higher and therefore clearing out obstacles around it would. I'm on here reading about it, and it says there's a water search area for the windmill, but I don't know why there's a water search area. I say let's not worry about it, and it's probably fine. If we have a look inside now, I bet our passive production has gone up quite a bit. Also, let's just do this. There we go. That's helped tremendously. There we go. That's helped immensely. I'll add a stair there later if we need to. Oh, our bat box is now full. So this ran out of coal ages ago, but a combination of water and wind power has already recharged it. Not too shabby, I gotta say. Not too shabby at all. But can we bring it to its knees? If we activate one of these machines like a macerator, yeah, we're drawing more power than we're producing still. But maybe our next invention can help with that. The solar panel. And I call it an invention, but we didn't invention. This is more of a construction, and this is going to be the most complicated one yet. This requires not just a generator, but 2 electronic circuits, as well as coal dust, which we've never manufactured before, but the easiest way to do it is just to macerate coal, as you might have expected. which we have no more of, because the coal I set away specifically for that purpose, I forgot what it was for. Can I turn fragmented carbon back into coal? No. No, I can't. Wonderful. I think I can use it as a fuel in the generator, though. Small blessings. I'm going ham this time, right? I'm going ham. I'm finding every little bit of coal I can, because we've been recording for an hour and a half, and I keep coming down here for more coal, and I'm sick of it. We got almost 2 stacks. One more piece, and we'll have 2 stacks. There we go. Let's get out of here. All right, let's get a few of these going. I think maybe 9 for now, because I'll probably want to make some additional solar panels in the future, because, spoilers, solar is my favorite form of energy in the mod pack. And you can upgrade it a lot to produce a lot of power. And if you build a whole factory to automate the process, well, you just have my Tekkit 2 series. Which was great, by the way. Until it wasn't. Now, I do want to address a question that I haven't gotten yet, but that I assume I will receive here soon. Why haven't I gone ahead and done any of the more advanced things that you can do with Project E? We have the Repair Talisman and we have the Divining Rods, but that's about it. And the reason is, a lot of the more advanced things you can do, I feel like take away a little bit from this sort of more survivally aspects of Minecraft. Going out and finding all your ores, and having to find coal to keep the generator running, and I'm not opposed to that. But I want to have a little bit of the raw Technic experience here in Tekkit SMP before we move into Magic. So we are very soon going to be building a Philosopher's Stone, Transmutation Table, all of that good stuff. It's going to be after the Nether episode, so stay tuned for it. But that is the reason why, like right now, if I needed some coal, I could just summon it out of a Transmutation Table. And we will. But for now, we're sticking with Industrial Craft, which I think is sort of the technicity core of Tekkit? I don't It's the technical core, would probably be a better way to phrase that. But we should have everything we need now. 2 electronic circuits, we've got our generator, we've got our glass, we've got our coal, and yes, you can shuffle these around. That is what the alternative recipe is, I thought? I was wrong? Oh no, it's just different types of glass. I'm pretty sure is the only thing changing there. Oh, it's the charcoal dust! Coal or charcoal? Well, if you're using EMC, charcoal dust would be less expensive, but we don't have EMC to worry about right now. So, boy, I just embarrassed myself there. Solar panel! I'm not embarrassed. I'm a big boy. I don't get embarrassed by misspeaking in my Tekkit series. Anyway, the solar panel, much like the water mills down in the water, when being fed water to consume, not when they're in their passive state, generates 1 EU per tick, meaning that it is much lower overall potential output compared to the wind mill. However, much like the water mills, it is consistent. As long as there's daylight, you will get 1 EU per tick. And shadows don't matter. We're actually going to affix it directly here next to the windmill. And you might think, well, during certain times of the day, isn't this going to be blocked? No, it's just the block on top of it, all the way up, is all that matters. As long as it's clear all the way up, you'll be just fine. You could dig a hole down to bedrock, a literal 1x1 hole, and stick it at the bottom. And as long as it had that clear view to the sky, you'd get your 1 EU per tick. But that's only during the daylight hours. If you take 8 of those and put them together, you can make a low voltage solar array, which will output 8. And then you can take 8 of those and make an MV, and then 8 of those and make an HV, and eventually you can be outputting 512 EU per tick. But yeah, it's a lot to do, let me tell you, and you're probably not going to want to do it by hand. Automation is the way to go with those. Now you'll notice I connected it up to the same cable, the same copper cable here, as our windmill. And you might be wondering, how many machines can we hook up to a copper cable before it burns out? And the good news is, an infinite amount. So long as no individual machine exceeds 32 EU per tick, then you're fine, because of the way that cables work, which I'll explain very briefly, and I could go into more detail, but basically, each machine sends its power in the form of a packet. So if you have a machine that outputs 32 EU per tick. None of ours do at the moment, but let's say this windmill did. Let's say for whatever reason that windmill output 32 EU per tick. What it would do is it would take 32 EU in a single packet and send it down the line. the cable is restricted to a maximum of 32 EU per packet, not per tick. So you can have 32 EU in a packet and an infinite number of packets, theoretically, going down the copper cable. And the copper cable would be fine. So if you had a bunch of machines that output 32 EU per tick, you could hook them all up to a single line of copper cable and you'd be fine. The only restriction you'd run into on the other end is output from your bat box, because no matter how much power you feed into the bat box, it's only going to output 32 EU per tick, one packet every tick. Now, you could set up a system where power is not just fed into the bat box, but also bypasses into your main supply line. And then that way, any power that is needed down the line can be pulled directly from the generators and not just from the bat box, but that's technical and something we're not going to be covering today. What we are going to be covering today is our final generator, the Geothermal Generator, which, after building a solar panel, actually looks pretty basic. The only thing we've not built before is an empty cell, which just requires some tin ingots, which I might have in my inventory. And in fact, I do. And I'm actually a little curious, so I'm going to build some extras. Oh, you get 16 of them. Good to know. I want to fill one up with water, and then I want to put it inside of our compressor, because it showed that a water cell inside of the extractor will give you a hydration cell. Very cool. But in the compressor should give us a snowball. Please give me a snowball. I've been lied to once already today. We'll see whether or not that works. Remind me to check in before the end of the episode. Oh, heavens. Oh. I was coming outside to get sand. Go away. You folks don't understand. That is worse than seeing a creeper right outside the door to me. I know it's an irrational fear. I understand that. Leave me alone. It's my Minecraft series. Let me be scared of sharks in peace. Go. Hey! Get away from my water generation! Oh, jeez. Alright, well there's everything we need. A generator, a couple of those empty cells, some glass, and some refined iron will give us a geothermal generator. Now, of all the machines we built here today, the geothermal generator is the most exciting. It'll output 20 EU per tick using lava. And if you put a bucket of lava in there, it'll make total 20,000 EU, which is a lot of power. I mean, I didn't mean to place that there. That's awkward and embarrassing. I'm going to need to pick it back up. Come here, you. Goodness me. 20,000 is half of what the bat box holds. So 2 lava buckets can completely fill the bat box, which is staying full, by the way, just off of all of our current power. Oh, well, we're not actually producing anything. Hold on. Let's see if we throw the iron ore in there, and it starts grinding that up. Do we have enough? Oh my gosh, we've done it! A combination of water, solar, and wind power, it sounds like a band, almost Earth, Wind, and Fire out in here, is actually able to completely power the macerator passively. But I have a sneaking suspicion that if we took some of this iron dust and we threw it inside of the electronic furnace... By the way, this is all math. You can just math using the wiki how much a macerator consumes, an electric furnace consumes, and then calculate how much you're producing, and then you don't have to do trial and error. You can just determine whether or not you're producing enough to keep up with, which we are still. I'd like to get another machine running, but with what, I don't know. Honestly, if it can keep these 2 running, that's good enough, because these are the 2 we're going to be using the most often. And if we're already at a point where we're... Well, you know what? Let's carry on. Let's build our geothermal generator. Now, fortunately, the 20 EU per tick is still less than 32, so we can hook it up using our copper cables here. And it's going to be on the back side of that, and that's okay. Now we actually have to put lava in it, which requires that I go find lava. Now, I'm pretty sure we know where some lava is. We should probably bring more than 1 bucket. It'd probably be beneficial to have at least 3 buckets. Can you make me a bucket? Yeah, you can. I actually want 3 of them. Can I just take 1? Nope. Okay. Hold down shift, I guess? Well, now I'm confused because I got 3 buckets. Alright. Maybe it's not as great as I remember it being. Or maybe it's just a little broken. Speaking of lava, you know, there it is right there. Literally at the bottom of the staircase. A whole lot of it, which is convenient. Oh. Well, that's not what I meant to do. I thought I could put the bucket in there. But apparently you can just right-click, and it puts it in there. Nice! And so we just added 20, 40, 60,000 EU, basically, into the geothermal generator. Now, it's going to start outputting power once it's needed, but I don't think it's going to run unless it needs to run. And right now, even with the sun down, doesn't seem like that's happening. So we'll clear away the Geothermal Generator, and we'll get rid of red sandstone because I didn't mean to have it there. And that does it for today's video. I'm very pleased with what we've accomplished here. With our little eclectic assortment of power generators, we're now generating enough passive power to keep our operation running even when I don't have any coal. Which means that's a good thing. I don't have to go get any more coal ever again. Which kind of sucks because I went through the effort of getting darn near close to 2 stacks, but we'll need it for other things in the future. Speaking of, next time we're going to have one more episode with this mod before we move towards magic. And we're going to be taking a look at automation, so things like the upgrades. We want to have export upgrades, import upgrades. We want to have things like our overclockers. You can store more energy if you want to, although I don't think we'll build one of those. That's not as useful. Unless you had a bunch of overclockers such that you overwhelm how much power can be absorbed by the machine, but you're doing it in short bursts, in which case having extra storage inside of it is useful. And there's other reasons to have storage upgrades. You can get a loudness upgrade, folks. There's actually a ton you can do here. You can muffle it, you can mute it. If you never want to hear it again, you can permanently mute or else muffle the sound of the macerator, which is kind of cool. I think muffle, just make it a little quieter, would be a good one to have. And then we'll also be looking at electronic tools. So things like the drill, in particular, is one that I wouldn't mind having, as well as the sawmill. Sawmill? No, chainsaw. Sawmill is something I want added to vanilla Minecraft, but Mojang, they're just not making it happen. Until next time, thank you folks all so much for watching. Channel members and Patreon supporters, I will see you in the next half episode. And everyone else, God bless. I'll see you next time. Bye!